tell us, Christina, why did you choose Karen?
So I've lived in Dunwoody, I guess, almost a decade now. We rented an apartment actually by the Super Target when we first moved to Dunwoody, and then we bought our first townhouse through a random Zillow agent, like our very first house. So we, out of loyalty, wanted to use him again when we went to first sell it 4 years after living there. And we didn't have any luck. We had plenty of offers. They were all way over the appraisal. He didn't know how to price it. And it was a very frustrating experience because he wasn't local to Dunwoody, so I don't even know if it was really his fault. He was out of Midtown. But we just ultimately decided we're gonna use the best agent in Dunwoody. We already knew who it was. We should have just used her in the first place. I mean, her blue signs are literally everywhere. And so we just said, we're gonna wait for this contract to expire. We're gonna list it again at the end of the year, and we're using the Karen. Of course, we had a lot better luck selling our house that time, but not only that, she was able to get us a rent back then when we had 2 babies at the time.
That's right. Yes.
So we had our rent back. We were able to find this house off market and get in with no competition. There were no other offers because no one knew about it. And we were able to fully gut it down to the studs and renovate it over the course of a couple months while we rented back and stayed in our townhouse.
Where are we now? Have you sold this house? And you had how many offers? Tell us the story about how this happened.
So we sold the home. We actually closed a few days before Christmas. Part of the negotiation was a lease back until they could find their home and close, which worked out great. We had a ton of interest, probably 7 offers, 20 showings. It was one of those homes that just resonated with people because it's done top to bottom. Nobody has to renovate it. You can move in. It's beautifully done, high end. It's not just a turn and flip house. It was something that they did and planned and wanted to live here for a long time, but things changed. And so the height of the market, she decided to sell.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like you got a really good price because it was such a popular house.
7 offers, multiple offers, escalation clauses, and very clean terms, very clean contingencies. So we got it above list price with a very 2-day due diligence. We had a great buyer, another great agent on the other end, and people loved it. I mean, it's spectacular. It's tasteful, and I love it because it's not so expected in today's market of gray and white and more modern. It's very classic and traditional, but it still has a modern flair to it.
Awesome. So tell us about your experience buying the new house.
So that was, we weren't sure what she wanted. They were looking to move to Johns Creek for family, and they actually used to live there. But we found a great home and a great community up there, and there were, I think, about 7 or 8 offers there as well, multiple showings, and Christina walked in and said, I love it. I want to get this house, and this is my perfect house. So we determined that we needed to go a significant amount above list price, remove appraisal, remove finance, and no inspection, which is what I never recommend on the buy side. But she felt good about it. It was a very well done house, and so we pulled the trigger and put an escalation clause in on top of a significant amount of her list price, and we had to use the escalation clause.
Wow.
And we got the house.
Yeah.
The market is very thin as far as inventory. I know everyone says that it's the lowest it's ever been, and it is truly the lowest. There's under 1 million homes available across the United States right now. So, and you'll find that in Dunwoody and Sandy Springs and even Johns Creek. It's everywhere. And so you have to be creative if you want a house, and when you go list, you want to be smart about it as well, because you want to get top dollar, but you want to price it correctly to get people engaged quickly. And a lot of times organically it gets built up as far as the price, the final price. And we try not to leave any money on the table, but you've got to navigate that well as a listing agent. And you have to have a good product to show and great clients, but you also have to make sure that the buyer can get to the closing table. So when you're assessing multiple offers, it sounds like it's a cakewalk, but you want to make sure that, they're qualified, they can get to the closing table. We're not going to have an appraisal issue. How are they going to be during inspection? And so all those things factor in when you're trying to decide over 7 offers. And so, you want to be smart about it. And part of that is knowing the market, knowing who's across the table, knowing who that lender is, and knowing what terms are good for your client, and ultimately working with them. And then what was great about this is giving them the flexibility with 3 small kids to lease back.
Absolutely.
And that was fabulous because we didn't want a double move for that. So it's still a seller's market. Sellers are in the driver's seat. If you want to get top dollar, this is the time to sell. And if you've been thinking about it, it would be now or in the near future.
Really convenient. So we had Karen help us buy this house, sell our last house, and then when it came time to sell this one, of course, we knew we'd be using her again. If you're looking to buy or sell a house in Dunwoody, I don't think there is any competition, frankly.
In this market, you want to be good, you want to be smart. I think you got to understand it well. There's a lot of people getting into it that you need someone who's experienced, and I think there's complications on both sides, but this, when you're able to work with great people, and whether it's the other agent or your client, you're able to pull together a winning deal. And I think that works out great, and everyone's happy in the end.
And a lot of people always say, especially right now, that it's not, it's an awesome time to sell your house. Sure, you made a ton of money on it, but it's not a great time to buy a house. And I just feel that we were only able to get my dream house on this next deal without a financing contingency. We were able to make a cash offer essentially because we sold our house and we're able to, reap the benefits of all that equity. So, yes, it's a risk that we took, but because we were able to sell it at such a profit, we were able to buy our dream house.
Karen tells me that you were Miss Georgia. When were you Miss Georgia?
I was Miss Georgia 2010, so I had the honor of competing at Miss America in Vegas in January of 2011, which just made me think how long it's been since then.
You still look like Miss Georgia.
Thank you so much.
Tell me, Christina, you have a blog.
I do.
And I looked through it, and there's so many interesting things on it. Tell us about your blog.
Thank you. So the website's www.casachristina.net. And I'm also on Instagram at Casa Christina Blog, but I love just sharing inspiration, whether it's other people's design work, but mostly I like to share just things that I'm working on in our own home, and then I even have a couple of homes that I'm working on for friends in the area. So just little projects here and there, whether it's picking a new fabric or a fun wallpaper. Those are my favorites lately, but just all the little projects, even the things that we've done on this house and our townhouse that we used to live in, I share them and people take ideas from there, and I just enjoy it.